try and get Janice's town email up and running.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah, that's my fault. I have to.
Because there's a lot of this stuff that I send off, like email, like details about members, and then you get put on the mailing list, and I think you're missing quite a few of those things, so.
well,
I'll work on it.
I can send you the link. If you don't have your username and password, you get to call World Band.
To call and send a small piece of paper that might have gotten buried.
I can.
Just before we start, one other thing. Does anybody know what Cemetery Girls is?
Is that with the library?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that.
Do we know what it is?
Oh, these girls have a long history of visiting cemeteries. So they talk about, you know, the motifs and, you know, behind the, you know, stones and, you know,
Because
how
I was just,
cemeteries
when
are
I just saw it
oriented.
when I came down past the library, and I thought
was
that
gonna
might
tell
be
you
a really
about
good link in with us with what we're doing on cemeteries.
Yeah, and they're very entertaining too, so.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, people love them, yeah.
They're not people that are going around doing the cleaning, are they?
No.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know.
That would be a good part of the educational program we're gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, if there is
Yeah.
this program here, so is it local or is it nationwide or is it, do you know?
They're local girls.
They're local girls? Okay,
Yeah.
good to know.
To it?
You know, what is it? When is it? Tomorrow night?
I'm not sure. I just saw it and I went, ooh, Cemetery Girls, what's that all about?
Yeah, no, I'd like to go. Yeah, they're fun.
You know, this is the fun things that you do when you get a bit older, Kim, you go looking at cemeteries.
No, I've watched a lot of that, you know, like on the internet where they power wash stones. and
Right.
Store them, like, it's oddly gratifying. to
Well,
watch
we,
people Power wash things like that, right?
well,
The
we've been
old production
doing-
they do.
Well, we've got, that's one of the projects that we're working on right now, is cleaning the stones in the cemeteries, but not power washing it. You power wash it, you destroy the,
Well, they do, like,
stone,
they
but
put some kind of solution on it.
that's
and
exactly
then-
it.
yeah,
You watch it on
Really?
TikTok?
I watch, yeah, I watch
Yeah.
it on Reddit, yeah, same. but
Same thing,
there's
yeah.
well, I mean, it's in this group that's like, it's all about people power washing things, that's where.
Oh,
it is.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know,
I just watch it.
It's kind of scary when all of a sudden you say,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's- yeah.
yeah. I follow these people that do power washing and you kind of go, I need a life.
We-
But I do the same thing. I watch the same thing, the carpets, when they clean.
Yes.
I'll switch
You
this
want,
off.
We bought all the
you want
equipment.
to join us then, right?
Yeah.
We get
Well,
some,
I need to get a power wash. Well, the carpets, I don't even understand why they do that. Like, I mean.
Oh, they like spend
my
like, yeah, it's like a $15 carpet.
Like, I mean, the amount of work to restore that, it's a 5x8 rug that they restore. Like,
I think that's for the PR. I don't think they're doing that for the carpet. I think they're doing it for the views and yeah.
but it's gotta be. Yeah, it's gotta be. Sorry, anyway. Go on.
you know what, to check out Secrets of the Museum, at the museum on PBS.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of clothing restoration, and oh my God, the stuff that they pull out is unbelievable. The you know, old outfits, oh, stunning stuff.
Okay.
I like any of that. They also do one where like they, you know, they basically go into old houses and then find the things in the walls. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I like too. You know, like, or like any of this, like the weird stuff that they find and people have to identify what it is, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
In your walls, that's
Raw
shocking.
milk thing.
But I bet your grounds probably have some
No,
stuff.
they don't.
Does this mean you want to rejoin historic?
You can join us, Mr. Goddard. Don't feel you've got to be like, you know, stuck out in the cold.
No, find Kathy.
Uh-oh.
All right, so we do have
You
a
got my
quorum, so
trailer breadcrumbs.
I'm opening the meeting at 11:20. No, 10:20. No, 11:20. God, I can't even see straight. My brain is foggy. I'm going to warn you right now. Very foggy. Okay, so in attendance we have Kathy, Dan, Dennis, Lynn, Kim. Yes, Mr. Goddard. Okay. So the meeting, we got the email from you last week about the RFP. What we wanted to do was just go through, if we could, a few things, because something came up about working, we're going to have to notify the state of some different things because this is a
Preservation restriction.
preservation restricted building. But I don't know, we just wanted to kind of work and see what we obliged to do, what we have to do, just to keep, because I was very vocal. And I did say that, you know, if the state come back on us, I know nothing about this at all.
Right, so when we do these projects, there's a form that we fill out with the Secretary of Interior in order
Okay.
just to notify them of the project for
Okay.
any interior work. Last time when we actually, you know, for the basement and then for the library, you know, that when I spoke with them, what's his name? I'll think of it in a minute. Their general standard is if the wall is being moved or not, an original wall is being
Right.
altered.
Yeah,
So at this point, nothing that's original, I don't think anything that's original will be altered until we start talking about maybe what's connected to the addition in the back. So that's, you know, the wall with the fireplace is the baseline, right? So that's the one wall that we would actually be worried about.
It seemed like the study flagged that one as an original wall. The one between your office and
The
the,
ceiling runs from that wall all the way to this bump out that was in Jean's office. It runs the whole way.
Yep.
On that side. So, and then the new addition, like in the study that we had done in terms of multiple additions.
yeah.
So that wall right now, I'm not moving that wall. There's no plans to touch or move that wall.
but it's, so, I'm sorry, so the wall with the fireplace that is original is one you do want to move or you don't
No,
want to move?
We're not
We're not moving.
that
Okay.
space at all.
Okay.
I mean, besides cosmetically, we're gonna open it up, take the new paneling off and fix the wall, right? So that, but I was originally thinking about restoring the fireplace piece, but who knows what's actually in there? It's more of a hope to do rather than a know to do until we get in.
Yeah, because there's probably photographs, aren't there, at the Historical Society?
You know what?
That would
This
show
is
what
the
that was
first
like
I've
originally?
heard.
I don't know,
Well,
might be too much.
We have-
once the paneling comes off the side,
Right.
then we'll know what's in there.
We have
Right.
very limited pictures of the inside. I assume it's those two chimneys. I assume that was the fireplace
Right.
because it was kind of like a big room, but
Right,
like the
so it
whole
goes right down
basement.
to the basement where the
when it was
actual
yeah.
it is too, so. But I mean, if there's something in it that's worth it, obviously, that would be great, but.
Right, but you
Right.
don't, again, it's like
you
chicken
don't-
and egg, you kind of take the walls out wanting to see what's in there, but you don't want to do that either.
Right, the rest of the walls, the hallway walls, the office walls, all of those are basically just, you know, they're walls that were put up, you know, through different times, the
They're-
70s or whatever, through the other remodels that they did, or the 80s.
They don't go up. They're just partition walls, right?
They don't even go all the way to
Yeah.
the ceiling, which is why it was really awesome to find out. I mean, I don't know, Kathy, you might know, but like, I had no idea. Like, I was told that tin ceiling didn't run on that side, like, because it wasn't above Margaret's office. So we looked there and we looked across the hallway in the two spots, right? We said, oh, it doesn't exist anymore, right? And then turns out, it's just because it was one spot, one office down. So actually, it's on both sides, all the way down. So Danny was able to take some of the pieces from the hallway that like already were piecemeal to do the other one. That would be the hope the second time too. I mean, we don't know the condition, same thing, until the grid comes down.
Right.
Right. So I mean, I think we are all thrilled to see that, you know, those pieces of the building uncovered again,
Yeah.
which is really, I mean, it's what defines this building and its historic character. So I thank Danny, and I know I've thanked him myself just for being so patient and seeing that through and just really, you know, every,
Trim work and
Yep.
the detail and just,
Oh, yeah.
you know, he's an artist. He's really,
he is.
Yeah.
I
and he
mean,
cares, you know.
Yeah.
so.
he does.
Yeah.
He does. This is his baby and his dad's baby, and, you know, so
He's such a good guy.
he is a good guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, just the trim work alone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't get original, you can at least reproduce it so it looks,
Yeah, I mean, he made all
Yeah.
of that in the finance office side. I mean, like, And then when they did wood for the 2 counters, I mean, same thing. I mean, he's doing that at home. He's taking it home, he's fixing the screens himself at home, you know what I mean? Like, it's just beyond.
Yeah,
We won't find craftsmen like that,
No.
you know?
That's what I keep telling you. This is like, it's not gonna get done again for 50 more years, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
take your time, he's always apologizing, I'm sorry it's taking the count, I'm like, it doesn't matter, it's a miracle that it's happening anyway.
Right.
Like,
Right.
just do it, right? Like, fix it, right?
Yeah, I guess I just like to see us, even if it costs more money, I think we should attempt to restore all that tin ceiling. And I don't know what's out there in terms of, can you have it replicated if there's pieces missing? Because
On that
that,
side?
because the treasurer's office is amazing.
You know, we're definitely gonna do it.
So yeah, okay, that was my fear, because this says like install new drop ceiling, and I was like, no, like,
No, the drop.
please no.
The drop ceiling is
Just-
for, in my office space, which, because that wall has to get moved. There's a dummy wall that's.
yeah.
That's gotta get moved.
Time between that and Jean's
And then
office.
back in my old office on the other side of the popcorn, that's for that.
There's no tin ceiling in that office.
No.
It
stop.
ends, like
You
at
can
that
see where it ends. You can
end of the
actually see-
hallway.
Up, the panels are down, you can see
Yeah.
it.
Okay,
Because it's, you know,
right. Yeah,
right. That actually, I mean, changed the size. We tried to put the conference room there, but actually, it's, I mean, it would have been over further if I had not found the tin ceiling all the way to the wall. And then there's no question at that point. The real issue is about the wall in the hallway, in the window there, which is, because that whole thing that's in front of the assessor's office is a later addition, and it's all just framework that can be bumped out and removed, but the floor has already been finished to a certain point.
Mm.
So that's making sure that that all still looks right. And so I've been toying with the idea of either window wall, like the whole thing,
Oh,
the
wow.
window wall, top to bottom, not frosted, so, or just partial window wall, like, depending on price and come back or whatever, you know, whatever they propose, but like, so that you can see it, you can see in there, you know, like.
Yeah,
one
like you
point
can
of- yeah,
see all
one
the
point
stuff.
of entry, which would be where the door is now, right, on that side down there, right here, because that other door will go away, and then we'd either do, you know, and obviously we'll make it match the whole aesthetic, but like, then you can see it. and that'll
that would be really
conference room.
nice.
Because I was
Yeah.
thinking about security for meetings, like, this is open, but I feel like, I can see a version of which someone, if it was just a wall again, they could feel nervous in meeting with just one person without at least blinds or something, you know, without at least some
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
visibility.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, and so Danny and I did look at different types of wall panels, and like, is that even feasible? And so they did that in Upton downstairs in their basement. They have a conference room that basically has one solid wall to the back and then did glass squaring it in. And so, yeah, like in there, so maybe something like, if it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
But with the floor, depending on what the floor looks like, where that bump out is a question mark.
So what's going on that side now? You're in the first thing,
Just a conference room and
And
then
then-
the assessor's office.
but so the space that was full of all like the table now, that's going to be Laura, or that's going to be a space, like a shared space for select board?
So once we found that, we were gonna have a shared space for the selectmen and then have Laura on the
been a
other
while,
side
yeah.
of it. Basically, and then have the conference room, but the tin ceiling, there's not enough space. So
Right.
Laura and I will just share the space. We're gonna move that wall over.
Right, so that's you
Just a
two.
little bit to where basically think about where the door is for the assessor's office and it drops down, there's like ventilation there. That's where the wall gets moved to.
Right, and that wall is like a particle board, it's
Exactly.
nothing.
It's a closet now, it's, right.
Yeah.
And so so my office wall will get bumped out to that point, and then the conference room will be the tin ceiling the whole way down. Because I'm not gonna break up the tin ceiling again, though.
But the same, so one door, so your office is inside Laura's office, the way it is
Yeah, I
now?
think I'll just have to,
Like, I mean, in a way it
I'll get
makes sense,
cozy.
but
I said, I'm sorry, I'm a loud talker.
with the double
Anyways,
doors,
you know.
that'll stay.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
doors, and then there'll be more space, and I mean, I think we'll still potentially have room for a small table in there. You know, I wanted to have, we used to have like a mailbox sort of room for the selectmen, you know, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
spot, but, you know,
So the room that was Jean's, that becomes this conference room.
Yeah,
And
all the
then
way to-
Jean goes in the end room, or no?
yeah, so the end room
Whatever you wanna call it.
ideally is where the assessor's office goes, because it would be
Right
across
next to
from
the-
main point of entry, and next to the finance office,
Right.
which is this door over here, right? The biggest question about going in there right now is, you know, that office would have been done first and next after this side if we didn't get delayed, right? And so that someone could be working in there now, because it's mostly cosmetic in there. That is,
Yeah.
there's not much that can be altered in there.
Are you gonna do the floors over there too, or?
Just carpet.
Just
because
carpet.
It's, so that, like, that one would have been an easy turnaround, just paint, even right now, like, we could leave the walls, I was saying to Danny, it, you know, especially with the fireplace piece, we don't really know what we're talking about, like, we're dreaming about it.
Yeah,
We
right.
don't know for sure, like, and are we creating more work for ourselves with all the electrical that's already in that, it's on both the, like, but I gotta take that door out anyway, I think that connects the two, so right, like, which is I mean, that original wall, that's not an original door that was cut into it.
No, I think just this one and that one going downstairs are original.
Yeah.
Like this thing that's screwed shut here.
Yeah, right, so, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
you know, it's tricky, but you know, like we talked about a couple of years ago, in the next section of, so the next piece of it, that was the other piece, the alcove piece that I really want to do, which would create a seating area, we put the stuff in there, and it would look really nice. That is expanded potentially now because of the concerns about the elevator, which is way beyond my scope of knowing, and that staircase in the back. But what's kind of exciting about that is, you know, we had the one guy walk through, still hasn't sent me whatever yet, but the possibility of maybe restoring some of that to mirror the front.
Yeah.
Which hadn't even really crossed my mind. Like those rubberized stairs in the back, you know there's a wooden staircase under there that looks just like this.
Well, I don't, ask Dan Gardner. That was like half the building. I don't remember what was back there for stairs, if it was like actual or if it was like,
Well,
junk.
it basically mirrors the front, but
yeah.
the other part is that the wall above the where the electrical room is for the elevator, there's all windows back there.
Yeah, that's like a weird,
So if we can get
space.
that out of there, then it lightens it up and I mean, I keep saying,
Oh,
let's
here.
face it, when the campus
I
gets
can,
done, that's what I keep saying, we've been able to get away with that dangerous elevator situation for long enough, okay? People are going to park back there and they're going to start using that door. And we have to actually enhance that door and that staircase and whatever, so we have the opportunity to create some kind of, you know, but we weren't talking about changing the door with this plan, so now that's kind of gonna be backwards, right? So we'll have to talk about if we change it externally or not in order to raise it up or not, and that is a different process, that's state, that's external, that's door, that's.
Right,
that's
yeah, then you're
totally
gonna,
different.
yeah.
But, I mean, originally, again, I just wanted to knock that wall down, move it back, expand the wood floor, put some chairs in there, and paint it and make it look nice. And then,
so then what, I guess, so the mailroom goes into that meeting space, so,
yeah.
I guess.
We move the copy
The
machine,
yeah.
so we move the copy machine.
Because then it's like a
into
functional.
Into the conference room.
And then what goes in the basement? Does that become,
So the basement
another-
is supposed to be a file room. I already
Okay.
ordered all the shelves and all the things for storage of Baker's boxes and whatever, so we can start consolidating as we're scanning, like a scanning
Right.
thing, and then, you know, stuff that doesn't have to be in the vault. So everything that's upstairs over there, we
Like,
get
right.
out of there.
but that would still have like tables in it, because that would,
Have a table
we
next
found
to
that worked really good, like when we did interviews.
Hmm.
That was a good spot.
Right, you can still go in there potentially and use it, but like,
Right.
you know, we need to have a central location for the stuff that
Yeah,
it's an issue.
Well, like, yeah, and as you rotate through and decide what's expired, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, like I tell you, I mean, I'm going through my stuff box at a time, like downstairs, and it's taking forever. But the stuff that, you know, every meeting that we ever had, there was a paper copy of every single thing. And so like, we don't need that anymore. But I have to go through everything to make sure it doesn't have social security numbers on it. And it's the standard, I mean, it's time consuming.
Yeah.
But like, it'd be nice to get it done once, like get scanned what needs to get scanned, and then put the stuff somewhere and be done, especially over there. It's such a waste right now. It's up there. Oh, sorry, go ahead. time
No,
frame?
I was, I'm just thinking through if I had questions. The only other thing, and it's not historic, we should talk about HVAC.
Yeah.
Because there's money from green communities. We talked, Bill looked into it. It's not going to be anywhere near 100%. It might only be like 10 or 20%. But if we, it's a huge lead time because it's a pain in the butt to go through all the process. But if we propose something now, I think the next cycle's maybe in the spring. I'll have to ask him.
Well, we definitely need to mirror whatever we did, like.
Well, mini splits is
Yeah,
what you'd
and
want, but they might finance some percentage of them.
Yeah, so I already have a cost estimate for
Let me
the
ask him.
electrical work and the splits from last time.
Yeah,
Right, for this side of it. I already got three quotes for the idea of what it costs, so I have that already. So if any of it can be funded, even better.
I'll find out what the timing is. It just, we got to deal with Guardian. It's a whole process, so I don't know what your time frame is, but
Well,
it'd be
that's,
worth putting up with window ACs, I think, if we could get money from the state, because the green communities, there's tons of money for this stuff.
Did you say something, Dan, or somebody said something
where's
as well
the
about
email?
sprinklers?
Oh, yeah, so that's the other thing, not
That,
to ruin your day, but when they did the police station,
yeah,
that tank, it's all set up, so we could add fire sprinklers to both of these buildings in the future.
okay.
So it's just now when it's all open, now might be the time to think about it.
Could we get a grant for assistance? in
CPA
some
can
of
pay
that?
for it
Where would we put it?
in the ceiling. So you'd have to get up in the ceiling, run the piping.
The new tin ceiling?
Oh, I know,
Oh.
but like, what would it look like with a tin ceiling?
I think you'd have sprinkler heads cut through, just like you've got these.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, the option is there.
I don't think they're as big as those. I think
Yeah.
So the 1775 Foundation has a grant. They do a matching grant, and this comes out every year, and it is for projects that, are facility-based, nonprofit, which got into a big discussion is the town a not nonprofit? But their focus is on things like sprinkler systems, alarm systems, things like that. Now, their maximum grant is 10,000. So, I mean, it is something that we could repeat if we were to set up the whole plan and say, all right, we'll start with this floor, then we'll move our way up to the next floor. And you know what, as far as fire suppression is concerned, maybe we should call in Chief Kessler and see if there are other options, available that aren't those gaudy sprinklers. So,
It's not a requirement. I guess the potential is there. If
Oh,
there was especially, if there's places we need to protect, because it is an old wood building.
it will go up very
Yeah, and
quickly.
especially now that like, I'm gonna be removing the door, like, remove the door in the front now, and I can remove the door in the back.
Those metal things.
Yes, and so.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it though. this
Those weren't
is
doing
always
anything.
going up. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's,
No.
I'm not a no, I just want to see what it looks like. I'm a visual person. I need to, I mean,
So that meeting on the main floor would have another tech setup,
yeah.
because
so
that's a
that-
huge problem. We need
No,
more space.
100%.
Yeah.
It's gonna have, I think we're gonna repurpose this
Eventually.
TV. And I think, it's gonna be exactly this, so you can have other meetings.
Another
down
meeting
there.
room, yeah.
That's what I was saying about when we're talking about the key cards, about the door access, only because, we're talking about, I really want to do swipe cards,
Yeah, with a touch.
But then I was trying to think about,
Well, adding a door is trivial once you pay for the head unit and all that.
Yeah.
The only requirement is running Ethernet wire to the door frame. So we could potentially have the wiring put in place, and they just cut in it's just a latch.
well, I mean, I think
But if we're losing the drop
certainly
ceiling,
for accessibility at night, because if we're gonna put a copy machine in there and then equipment, but I mean, I guess I feel like it's closer to the door, that's the.
Yeah, I think it was-
I don't think anyone's gonna come in and.
$500 or
Well,
something.
maybe, just
I mean-
securing equipment.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many times has the door's been unlocked when we show up?
Well, that's what Steve had mentioned. I think the key fob would help because you put it on a timer, so it would just nobody has to unlock or lock in the morning.
Yeah.
You have to think about it.
Actually, that makes sense, the conference room could be unlocked, door could be unlocked from whatever time to whatever time. Yeah, yeah, but that's secondary, sorry. But yeah, that, security is an issue. I mean, I really want to think about signage outside. I mean, I don't know if you guys are there yet, but I haven't designed or really started to even think about what the permanent signage will look like on the campus after this, especially directing people towards these other points of entry. And I assume, we want something that is very nice. So, if you start having ideas around that, and even internally, I mean, I was just gonna go back to what we were doing before, repurposing the boards that we have. But,
We definitely need all new signage.
yeah, or
But-
at least make it work.
Well, I don't know, I guess we will know when we see it. There's gonna be stuff outside, because there's gonna be something over there with the rain guard, whatever. So there might be a good spot to put some outside directional
So we're
signs,
definitely gonna need something.
tax collector or
envision
whatever.
Something attached to the ramp.
Yeah,
That basically says main entrance, Mendon Town Hall main entrance that looks nice, right?
Mm.
I also want to get some of those carpets with the seal in them.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be nice, yeah.
I want one for the front, one for the side here, one for downstairs,
Oh.
right? Especially with the wood floors, like
Yeah.
I'm worried about that.
Mhm.
So I want to get those. I mean, I don't have any particular, I mean, black with the seal, basically, but go to, like maybe blue if I can get it. I like blue.
Well, be careful on that one.
Blue.
I got in big trouble because of Nisco, because it's our rivals' colors.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know I should have been thinking green this whole time, but blue's nicer than gray. Gray's very cold. Blue's at least warmer. It's cold. But when we do the alcove piece, that's probably gotta be green, whatever the NITMA green color is, that wall should be green and then.
Yeah, because there's a few things, we still have to sort out. One of the things that we wanted to do at some point was bring over the weights and measures.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we have the weights and measures could
And
go
that would be
somewhere.
really,
a
that
nice
would be
big
really
cabinet.
nice.
That's like a couple of cases down there.
Yeah.
That's exactly where.
Well, that's what this is. You just bolt a piece of plexi to the front of it.
Old timey photos and stuff, like nice chairs, like actual, you come in and it's, and it's opened up and it's lighter and like, it's weird because it's to the side, right? But.
Well, there'll be a nice sign saying waiting area.
I think it makes sense because you pull in here, this is going to be, and we should identify, I know we've talked, like if we can find like 5 or 10 spots on the wall for picture hooks, I think we could work with the society to rotate pictures through because they have a ton of stuff that's just, never sees the light of day.
Well, I mean, I do have one old time map that I
Yeah.
have in Laura's office already. Like, as
Oh, I
I'm
saw that.
Finding things, I've been putting them aside, like as I'm digging through, things that
Yeah.
haven't been looked at in 20 years that are
Yeah.
like downstairs, like buried. So, there is one I already got. I mean, it's probably a reproduction map, but it's still a very cool map.
Yeah, all those are
Right.
reprints, but
Yeah.
they have like paintings that most of the Doris Daniels Cox stuff. There's just, phenomenal stuff that
Yeah, it would be awesome. I
you
mean,
could rotate them through and people will
So-
see them.
the pictures I had sent to Kathy before, so when I did this in another town that I worked in, when we built this alcove area, another thing that really looks great is if we could get like an antique flag or something that looks like something, that stuff really looks awesome framed and on the wall. I know that we're already decorating for a project that's out, but I'm just saying, when you're thinking about stuff, it really would be cool. When you walk in to have
Yeah.
that visual.
Well, if you do like what Andrew did too, if you have a case, again, there's stuff that could get rotated through. I think he has people just exhibit things in that case for a couple weeks at a time in the library.
Yeah, and then we probably need one more security camera.
So-
Probably right at that.
Well, I think there already is one in the
Well,
lobby.
there's one
that hits that.
going down the hallway, but I bet you don't need another.
Yeah,
one
well, that's
going
easy.
that way. But alcove timing wise, so now that we're talking about.
Yeah, what's the plan, I guess, at the time?
So we don't have any money.
Right.
Okay, well, so I have plenty of money left to finish this side, right? I already encumbered it based upon the contracts that we did at the end of the year. I'm just basically on pause while we're getting these quotes to come in. I do have
Finish the assessor side,
this
you mean?
side, yeah.
Okay.
I do have more than just Danny coming in to look at it and walk through and give estimates and quotes this week. Which we are doing as a courtesy, even though I think the project is gonna be way under $50,000, but I already have all that. This other piece, I have no idea what the cost is for doing this alcove. I assume it's large because of the staircase and the doorway and the whatever.
Can we not use CPA funds on this?
So that's, to me, timeline wise, I think it's a May ATM like we just did for the campus. And that might even be too soon, which is terrible, but like realistically, I mean, I don't even know that we're even gonna have enough funding to get the design part done. You know, we need designs back or whatever, like, and then we're.
Well, if it's historic, you can potentially access some of that
Yeah, some of the.
administrative funds. It's not a lot, you know, it's only
Yeah.
5 to 10, but
So I've been waiting for the one guy who came through to sort of get back to me with.
it might be.
That, I mean, we have an article on for the STM, but I mean, we're gonna have between $150,000 and $200,000 in free cash, which is not a lot. So a lot of our articles already are gonna have to do stabilization, which is.
As
not
we've-
ideal.
So much CPA, I think we should use it
Yeah,
and
and I
anything
think
it's
people
eligible
will
for.
expect us to do it, but, you know, I'm just,
Or even-
nervous about the exterior along with so when he came out, we talked about if we keep it at the level that the floor is right now to basically build a platform so it's not so steep, we have to basically mirror a stone, potentially a mini stone ramp on the other side in a way to sort of match the aesthetic. And all of that, when we start talking about the outside, just expounds the cost a lot. So like, we gotta make sure that we have a real solid plan about how that gets done, right? Like, because and then we have to bring it to town meeting, and then the alternative is, if it doesn't get funded, the big plan, we can still take down this wall and make it alcove, right? That's gonna be plan C.
Right,
It
right.
has to be, because.
But I
like,
think that the
The internal
town,
work.
I think the town would approve it. The way that I've seen them is if you can justify it and it's not really going to be costing them more money, we don't have like special taxes or whatever for it.
Right.
You can justify it and you can say this is historic, it's a, excuse me, historic building, this is what the money is raised for, let's use it. I don't think that there would be a problem.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I think that all I'm worried about is just the scope of the costs. I have no idea.
Right.
Like, my hope actually from the beginning with the campus piece is that if we had money left over at the end, I really thought if we, you know, I was projecting that we'd have about $150,000 left over. Like, you know, fingers crossed, everything goes as planned for outside. We could use that, right? That's like, we already have a piece. We don't have to go back and say, listen, you said campus, we're gonna do this is, but I don't know if that's even like a.
We'll go
Yeah,
until
we
the
don't
end.
know.
That's in the range of enough for, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But I know that if we had 150,000 left over, at a minimum, we're gonna get an alcove.
I know as soon as you touch that
We're gonna get the
elevator,
floors, and we're gonna
it's
make it
expensive.
look right, and if we can't
Mhm.
fix the staircase, or we put up a half rail, like, you know, like, it's not ideal, right? But you know, everything takes a really long time to get done around here, and so if this project turns out to be $500,000 or more than that, like, because it involves the elevator or something, we are not prepared, like,
No.
financially to
Yeah.
even.
Well, you
think
can
about that.
finance from CPA, which is what Upton did.
Right, I mean,
So,
but I
but-
don't know that anybody has an appetite for that, you know,
Yeah.
so, I think we maybe, you know, maybe we do some of it, you know, with what we got, and then we put it in the cycle of.
Have you talked to anybody on the elevator? Like, could they retrofit just the doors and leave the
So
elevator?
that's one of the things that he's
'Cause
supposed
the
to get
elevator
back to me on.
works.
Right, so he's supposed to be able to, like, I think the elevator itself is fine.
It's
We
the
have to
door.
Switch the door, but and we'd have to change the
I think-
grade of the staircase. The
Well, what-
staircase is a problem.
But I think if the door was either an automatic door or open the other way, it wouldn't be as bad. And I think I think it needs controls. There's something in that CBI study about missing. I think it's supposed to have the thing that the firefighters can operate it from outside with a key or some,
Still want to do it again.
because the stairs they're just stairs, right? There's nothing, they're not on the code.
Well, they're very steep. Like, so, like,
Would
I don't
assume they
know
meet,
that they're to code.
I assume they meet
I
code because
think-
it's, well, they also built it on top of the elevator shaft, so we shouldn't assume.
Right, so that whole addition, which is just basically poured concrete, right, or whatever back there, it's questionable. I
You're
think
right, those
that
probably were the original, they probably didn't, they probably just put the rubber on them.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, which is,
Hmm.
so, I mean, I'm open to all kinds of design options back there, like, really, anything that opens up the space is ideal, so even if they came back to the elevator and said, we don't need 2 bathrooms down there, we just need one
Right.
unisex handicap bathroom. They need to basically borrow that space, knock that out, so that the elevator could go that way and build a,
That was,
I mean, who knows?
that was
right?
dumb. That whole, it's so much wasted space back there.
Correct, and then, like I
Oh.
said, if you open up that utility closet and there's windows, the windows are on the back of the building and the light is coming in, like, why on earth?
You
They didn't
do,
just build a half wall so that it still has light back there, but,
Yeah.
you know, it was the 80s or whatever, and I'm guessing they just got a grant and they said, this is what it pays for, and we don't need the back of it anyway, and it's an exit and whatever, but the problem is, now the focal point is shifted.
Yeah.
right,
And I
right.
don't want people, I mean, I want them to park back there and park over there. They're gonna be walking between these 2 buildings. We want them to use that space, but I don't want them to use it like that.
No,
So,
You do need that elevator machine room needs to be a secure room, or that has to get done differently. I do know that,
well, it's locked.
but
Well, that's enough.
they probably certainly could redesign that space much better.
Yeah. well,
Like, you don't need the room within a room. You just need the one room.
It just seemed, I mean, I think,
So you could like open up that wall.
right, that's, even now, that's the part I don't understand, which is, why did they build the wall all the way to the ceiling? They could, it's already a half boxed in wall.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't, I think it was just what was easiest.
yeah, I don't
mean, it really-
understand
It's a
what they
shame.
did there.
But I do think people are gonna question, like, if that's the newest addition to the building, why is that the one that we're taking apart?
right.
So, I mean, we gotta really have a
Well, that may not qualify for
vision, you
CPA.
know, like, we
versus
gotta really
accessibility.
show, like, what it's gonna look like, you know, just like with the campus, which is, this is what we're trying to do back here,
Right.
right? Like, this is that side and this side, and I mean, people are still very frugal, they might say. It's not broken, right? I'll fix it. Nobody's falling down that staircase, yes.
Yes. Yes, but when they do, it's going to cost you a lot more money than it would have done to fix the
Well,
stairs.
that's, you know,
Just a question, does CPC cover ADA development?
Yes, CPA covers ADA to
Right.
historic buildings.
So I thought that back piece might be as much ADA as is historic.
I mean, it's a little stretched because there's an but you could say the current ADA solution no longer meets code.
Right.
I think it would be best if it was part of a bigger project. I think to just fund that on its own, but I think it could be done, or at least partially fund it.
right. No, I agree. I think the
You
whole
know.
thing is one big project. I think that it's probably that exterior piece potentially, right? Because you didn't know what's going on the outside in order to match what's gonna be built on the inside with the staircase,
Mhm.
right? It's a whole thing, so.
Do you have a time frame from the gentleman that toured the building to get drawings and stuff back?
So I sent him an email, whatever, a week or so ago, and he said he was getting them back to me. But like, that's the part.
Sometime.
Right,
Look.
and again, I mean, he just walked through, right, like that, we're talking about, it's probably, I hate to say the word, but it probably is a study, right, it's probably.
Well, there's got to be engineering and everything done before he can
Yeah,
even
it's
give you
gonna be
a price or anything.
It's gonna be.
Yeah,
Right, we're gonna need design options and engineered plans and, you know, somebody who knows about ADA compliance, especially with the elevator and how we can touch it, and that's what I'm saying, all I hear is cha-ching, cha-ching. And, and assuming it is gonna cost that, I think, you know, maybe we can get it together for May, maybe, right, let's get the study and that, or whatever, get moving or whatever, but in the meantime, you know, I think if we find out, like I said, that it costs whatever, probably still just forward a piece of it, 'cause it's gonna take a couple of years, I mean, you know, we gotta do something.
this mend and it will take, how long was the police station?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we wanted to come in is to, look at the RFP, you know, there's a concern about, you know, are we going to get the consistency of craftsmanship, you know, that we've been blessed with downstairs? You know, if somebody else comes into the picture, is it going to just change the trajectory? And, you know, if there were a plan, you know, that we can start chipping away at this through the CPA funds, we have the money, we feel like, you know, the town money would be better used, you know, to address other things while we can tap into that money, those resources, and work on these historic structures. But it's good to have a plan, you know, to say, all right, you know, in this cycle, we're going to do this, in that cycle, we're going to do that, and just say, okay, here's the wish list, what can we, you know, and we feel like we can be helpful and we can certainly promote it. But, you know, we're just, you know, we just are not sure where things were going, you know, so.
No, I get it, I do. And I agree with you about the craftsmanship piece, right, which is, but, you know, Danny can't do this next phase, right? It's beyond his scope, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing, this other piece he certainly can do. You know, no matter what the quotes come back or whatever, it's still within the board's purview to, you know, award it to whoever they see fit. And, you know, so I'm not worried about the completion of this existing with Danny, even though I shouldn't say out loud about. So we're going to get a lot of bids in, we're going to review them all equally, and then we're going to award the bid based upon what comes in, right?
Yeah.
To that point, though, I think if it's within the purview of the board, then I would say the Historic Commission should weigh in with a recommendation of what they want to see come out of it. So if the craftsmanship piece, if you have a strong inkling as a commission, you should be, it's almost like when you go to the Supreme Court and then people write their little side document saying this is what we think, take it for what it's worth. It might be helpful to get a recommendation from the commission to the board to saying, you do think all these things, but we really feel really strongly in this area, which might drive the decision.
That's actually a really, really good point. You know, especially if you've already seen the craftsmanship, the quality of the work that can be done. You know, unfortunately in the town, a lot of the times it does just come down to money. But if we do have some kind of input from the historic point of view of, you know, the level of craftsmanship, what he's doing isn't just framing a door, he's actually replicating what was there before. So you've got to make sure that, you know, I think everything aligns with that. Right. And we can help you out whatever, you know, whatever you might need.
I mean, I fully expect, so we just need to get we need to solicit for 3 written responses, solicit for, because the project's under $50,000, okay? But we've taken an extra step beyond that this time, which is we put it on Combine, so, you know, as you do, or we put it on the central register, right, and we advertise it and we posted it, because we don't want anyone to think that somehow we didn't do something, right?
Well, and you know that there's always someone watching that will. So, you know, I mean, we found that out so many times. There's always someone that's kind of watching, that's waiting for you to do a misstep. So, you know.
Right, and so I think, like, we would have been done with at least the hallway portion, like, we would have been done in December. Now we're going to be done in March, is what I'm saying, which is.
Time is money.
It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? And so, like I said, I've got a couple of people that have emailed. So one of the things I put in the bid piece was that they had to do a walkthrough required in order to submit a bid. So at least if they were going to. And I have 2 that are going to come and do it. And one of them is the company that did the painting. So I feel pretty comfortable about all of that. But, you know, we'll certainly, once the quotes come in, and we've got to put it on the agenda, and we'll weigh all the factors that go into awarding a bid, and, you know.
Does the RFP for requirements have anything, I mean, similar to what I think you did with the gravestones for the CPC, you had specific the person that's bidding has to have a certain background and skill set
Yeah.
for reparation. So does,
No, none of that. It's basically just basic, it's a list, all we submitted was a list of things that have to be finished downstairs, the scope.
I
not
think
the
my
man-
only,
not the manner in which they need to be finished in terms of the craftsmanship angle?
No, none of that.
Okay.
It's the same thing when we did the basement in the library, because, I mean, right, in a recorded meeting, but, anticipating that we are going to be continuing to move forward in the same way that we have already, to finish the job.
In the same manner, to the same level,
Correct.
for whatever price they're going to quote you.
Correct.
There you go.
Right, and so it's really just to, check that box, right? But then, like I said, the next piece, all of this, outside, inside, this whole thing, I have no specific, like, I have nothing besides general idea of what I want, like alcove or whatever, anything goes. And so that's a full on, have at it. I mean, like, that's really,
Right.
redesigning an entranceway into the building that focuses on historic in the one section of the building that's not, but still, right? Like, that's,
Right.
that's, but like I said, if there's some chance the project was delayed and we'd have to wait for whatever to do the bigger piece, then we would just bump it out, paint the wall,
Yeah,
make it match what's already done.
right.
I think, as it, for the work in the basement, I think that, at that potential discussion, that's the time to like come to an agreement on what the final scope is in terms of what's being historically done versus drop C, where like this is just a rough
Yeah.
scope. I think that would be the point. I would like to see some agreement on this is what we're paying for. We're going to get this, we're not getting this, whatever. Once we get that feedback, I think that's the time.
So even on, so that is basically the list. Basically, that's the list of what's left to be completed.
What are you looking for?
I'm here for a Rockford meeting.
Oh,
Is this it?
Oh,
is this somebody you're meeting with then?
yes, sorry, yeah, I'll be right with you.
No worries.
Perfect.
Maybe a couple minutes, see, exactly. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't want to waste anyone's time, but,
Well, you know what, we would like to see our efforts are, we would like to see the CPA funds go towards, this project.
Or even,
and-
keeping a close eye and seeing if there's anything else that comes up from the state that we could use.
yeah, I think.
The state's got a lot of money right now. Let's try and grab some of it.
No, 100%. And I think all of that should be channeled for this piece,
Yeah,
all of it. Like I said, this is the, assuming that we can, again, we don't have any information to go on besides one person walking through and saying, I'm gonna send you something at this point. It's totally unknown.
right.
And so that's, May the soonest, unless we somehow find it, I guess we could ask for money for a study to look at it at the STM. I just don't know, like I said, I feel we're gonna be really tight on cash at this STM. So
Right.
that, I have it on there as an article. I have a hard time advocating for it as a priority, top priority at this moment, only because we have so many other things, but if by chance they would approve it, then that would be great, but you know what I mean, like a.
But if you're at least, if there are a lot of other things that are requiring money and there isn't a lot of money available, at least you're putting the seed in people's mind of
Well,
this
that's
is what we want to do. It's going to be more money. We're letting you know this is what we want to do, but we may come back to it another point because there are other priorities. I think people appreciate that.
And maybe to Dan's point too, maybe 10,000 of it is CPA admin and 10,000 of it is free cash or, like, I don't know, I think we paid 20 to 25 for the senior center study. So I'm assuming that's the ballpark. But I,
Just so you know, I'm going to quit everything and going into the business of doing studies.
oh, no.
But just to clarify, the STM was to get funding to get all the appropriate plan studies and done so that for the annual, you would go in for the cost, knowing the cost to execute on that, right?
Right.
So if we don't have that article in the STM, then you're talking about the whole back end of this project being pushed out well beyond, you know, we
It
kind
is
of,
till May.
for this, to start the study. So you're, yeah, so I might suggest that it would be a top priority. Because I don't think us funding for a study, I mean, that's seed money for a project like this. You got to put it out there. Otherwise, you're talking about 6 to 12 month delays, which nobody wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, the other option, of course, too, is to wait and see how we do on the campus. Which is, I think, to me, is, you know, when we went and transferred all the money and moved it all, we said, right, we have money left over, we're gonna use it for the same purpose, right? And so you know, it's on there, where it can, I mean.
The big thing is to get an idea of what the cost would be for the plans and the study, right? Get that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I mean, like, I assume it's 20 to 25, that's what I have it on there for right now. But it's, like I said, it's a tight year right now, but I certainly think, you know, we know a little bit better in the spring, like transfers at the end of the year, or like any of it, you know.
I
but-
almost think we need to do, I mean, that to me is stabilization if need be, because you need to go into the ATM, understand expanded operational budgets as well as these possible financing things going into the spring for the 24 budget.
Right,
You know, so it's almost a must-have, otherwise you're flying blind in 6 months anyway.
well, I hope everyone agrees.
We'll have that conversation, we'll have it tomorrow night, right?
Yeah,
So,
right. So like I said, I have it on there, I have an estimate on there. It just, you know, knowing all the things that we are competing for with little funds, it's tough to say that this is a have to do right now, but I mean, do I want to do it right now? Of course I do. I understand that, but I also remember we're supposed to be prioritizing the senior center, right? And so, and then, you know.
That's a separate animal right there. That, I mean, those are parallel efforts and of different magnitudes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I just, you know, the best we can do is put it up, I suppose, and hope. But I mean, I think, you know, if somebody does a couple designs, then we can like actually pick, cost test. I mean, it's a real project. It's a
Right.
big project. So, you know, and we could borrow against CPA, that's true. I mean, let's say it's $1 million, which seems out, I don't even want to think about it, but let's say that it is. I mean, you could. I mean, but, you know, we're paying a third of this, right? Still,
Right,
so that's a
right.
whole.
Mhm.
So, I mean, part of what we have to prioritize too is, you know, where, you know, we feel there's a need as well for funding to go with the CPA funds. Now, obviously, the records room, which is, you know, probably underwater today, it is a huge priority. So we want to make sure that whatever we, you know, are doing, we can balance, you know, we can create a balance so that no one project gets left behind. And then, you know, it allows us, you know, to lobby and, you know, to tap into resources and, you know, connect with people so that we can help get better answers or resources and see how other communities are doing, you know, these types of projects. So, you know, somebody usually always has a trick up their sleeve that works, and, you know, we can be, you know, communicating on the listserv,
I
you
wish.
know.
Yeah,
I check
like
every
said,
day.
I really, whatever you want to do with this piece, like however, like whatever this turns out to be, right? It's free to explore, right? Which is, I think there's a real opportunity here. Externally and like the building outside, potentially on that side, and internally to do it right? Do it once and do it right.
Right.
And so I think we have to really, I mean, if we have to wait for a grant cycle again, you know what I mean? That's the,
Right.
I hate to delay, but you know what I mean?
but like you said, rather than what they did before, if you're gonna do it and you're gonna spend the money, do it right. Have the plan there, have everything that you need and know in advance what you need.
Yeah.
And then, do it that way rather than, like you
Right,
said,
have
close off
beautiful
windows and things.
designs,
Yeah.
like, it might be over the top, but like I said, I can see the biggest we got a $500,000 grant or whatever to do the elevator. I'm sure we're gonna hear that. And so that'll be prepared for
Yep.
that piece, so, you know.
Right, right. And I mean, I think, we are really, buying into, a lot of the things that, you're saying and what we've seen so far. So, for us, it's not necessarily, we don't want to come in and design this stuff. I mean, this is, but we have resources, that you can use, whether it be funding, but if you can share the plan, or.
You should select the design, I would imagine. Like, I think you should have a role in once the different types of schematics came back, just like the senior center, think of it in the same way, just like with the council on aging, right? Like, different types of ideas come back about what it looks like, I think you definitely have to have a say in that. I mean,
Or maybe not even a say, but input.
well, I mean. The
it's
board
more
will
like.
Ultimately vote, but I mean, like.
Yeah.
The whole point is to give it that,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, that feel again, and like, if we have to make choices about, and I keep saying it, I know it sounds very negative, but scaling down, like, what doesn't happen, I think that's.
Right.
That's not a decision that, I mean, it's a decision that should be historic. That's, you know what I mean, like this, that's the stuff, like, we're not enhancing to me, my priority would be enhancing the features of the building in order to mitigate risk, right? Enhance the entrance. That's the stuff that I would focus on, right? We're talking about design and making sure it checks all those boxes. And then collectively, this is the thing that matches the historic aspect of the building the most. It has to be a stone ramp, you know what I mean, or whatever. It has to be this, and then we have to have this should be this window. This is a priority. That stuff, like restoring the light into the space. That's the stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's the piece of it,
Okay, how do they need to stay involved in order to provide you that guidance for what you were just saying? Because it seems like you're catching up on what's going on.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you stay involved so that you're able to say that needs to stay that to your point, if they need to provide that type of input, how do they do that?
Well, so, I mean, to me, it's once we have funding for a study, we start there, right? And then when the designs come back, or if we do walkthroughs, or, a person comes back, that's when we start doing this, what we're doing now. That's,
Yeah, I think it's, to your point, Mike, I think it's important to just communicate as stages go along. I mean, there's going to be certain things that you're going to be doing that we probably wouldn't have any input on. But there are other things that, like you said, we probably do need.
right.
So I think it's just staying in touch, communicating,
Would you
updating.
consider appointing somebody on the commission to be Kim's point of contact so she knows if she.
Well, I think it's volunteers.
If it's everybody, it's nobody, to be honest.
No, I mean,
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I just keep drawing back to this. We are aware of some grants and some money that we can funnel into this. And, if there's an opportunity and there's a trigger that goes off and says, all right, we need money for this, we can, put the feelers out, talk to people, go through Mass Historic and just, dig. Do we get money? I don't know, but it's worth a shot,
yeah, and we need a plan for that.
Yeah.
We need a design, we need concept, we need all of that.
Yeah.
Right. And just, it took, 8 years from when Ann and I started talking about this campus outside,
Yeah.
and this feels like that again, right? We did the study and then the campus. don't want it to take 9 more years.
Right. No.
No,
I don't want it to take 9 years, right? And so,
but we could even do, you know, I mean, there's certain things on our agenda, we meet once a month. You know, there's certain things on our agenda that are ongoing that we say, well, you know, we've got this, but there's nothing to report. We can always ask Kim for an update that she can supply for the meeting.
Right.
So that we can discuss, rather than have like one person appointed, because that
I
kind
know,
of
especially
feels.
during the day, this is awesome, okay?
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why I was like,
Works for me.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I'm not going to ask anybody to come in at night to meet us. If it's a meeting, it's different, but yeah.
I was like, I cannot do that.
No.
So-
no.
Yeah.
But I think if we can, you know, get regular updates, even if it's, you know, well, we've got the design guidelines come in, you know, we're going through it. How about we can get together and discuss it? And I mean, the other people, well, Connie wouldn't be able to come, but we are looking for a couple of new people. So, I mean, it
Yeah,
can
mean,
work.
Well, I think
certainly
you
will
report
attract
back.
people.
Yeah.
I think the campus alone will start, like I said, it's unfortunate, I guess, that, you know, this is, I always start this way. Sounds great, but is my idea too grand? You know, like, is it beyond reach, right? And that's how I always start. And I've been pleasantly surprised, like, multiple times. We built the station right here, right? And now we're doing this thing outside. And so, you know, a lot of times I'm waiting for somebody to say, the scale of it is too big, right? Like, just do the alcove and paint it and it's enough for, you know, instead of saying, yeah, that sounds awesome, let's do that. And then I'm like, whoa, right? And so, you know, there has to be a balance somewhere between like what we actually need and what would be nice to have, right? And that's the line. And so I
Yeah.
think it's helpful to me if you are walking that piece of it, right? Because you know, I've said it 10 times, I'm super visual, so you know I want it to look a certain way looks nice, right? And so I think that's been established, like a very specific aesthetic that seems to have trickled into all of these buildings, right? But I just, you know, if the stuff that is super important to you from a historic perspective, that like finding the things that we have to restore, like, and prioritizing that over, hey, maybe we don't need 2 walls over here or whatever. That's the stuff I need to
Yeah.
balance on, you know, like, we don't need to redo the entire ramp, you know, or we don't need to take it down again, like that, can't believe that went full circle already. Like, it's about taking that ramp down again. Like, are we seriously here? Like,
Again?
again, right? And so, you know, I think it's good.
Okay.
I
Is
mean,
it worth forming another committee? Like, not that we need another one, but like we did for the campus, or is it, we're not at that point yet?
I don't think we're there. I mean, I think this isn't enough,
Hmm.
right? Because the
Yeah.
funding it on itself is a totally different animal, right? We're gonna pay for all of it. That's what takes that long. I mean, we pocketed squirreled that money away for a long time to get this campus done.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully this won't be $1 million project and it'll be a couple $100,000 project, and then it's more achievable and not a 9-year away project.
Right.
Right. But, you know, what it looks like. is important. You should go down there and see where the window is in the back.
Oh.
You'll kick yourself, like, if they built it like that. Go back there, like it's.
I wonder if that was the original, like that window was older. See if there's a picture.
Window to nowhere.
I don't know.
So, because I know you have to get going. So when there's a decision made about getting the design guideline, or I'm sorry, the designs in, maybe we'll touch base at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we're gonna have to do now is, the very next steps are just this. This guy gets back to me with the walkthrough information, whether it's actually usable or not, who knows, right?
Yeah.
We get an estimate of what we think a study costs in order to look at all of this, which is bigger in scope than probably I even discussed, but maybe, he looked at the outside, I looked at the inside, right? Getting that on the STM, which it is, getting it funded at the STM, right? That's the very next step, right? Does it get funded? Yes or no? It's like a choose your own adventure, right? Does it get funded? Yes, great, now we go out to bid, then we get the firms in, then we do a request for qualification, basically, right? Then we create parameters, then we meet again, and then we review them, then you make a recommendation, then the board awards it, right? That's the way that it goes. And then we pick somebody, and then we go back to fund, like,
And then the costs go up
yeah.
300%, and then you go back to the SDM.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
right, and that's, like I said, I mean.
But if there's a schedule and there's a plan, I mean, there shouldn't really be, you know, holdups. This is not the kind of project that you know is going to be done by Christmas. This is not the kind of project that you know, even if everything goes smoothly, is going to be awarded and started by May. It's just not going to happen. It's the town. But at least if there are steps that you go along that, you know, then everybody knows where they stand, and it doesn't just disappear because you miss a meeting or something. Yeah,
Yeah, it just takes a while.
it does. I know.
Oh, yeah. And those grant cycles, you know, the MPPF grant, you know,
Right.
this takes us at least 6 to 8 months to get prepped for it. And even at that, we, you know,
We're not
we have
ready.
to withdraw.
Right, we're not ready this year, yeah.
So, you know, so anything we can forecast for the future, you know, this is what we want to target, you know, gives us an opportunity to just give you a little sweat equity.
Yeah, and I guess we'll find out soon enough if the town has an appetite for it or not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Won't do another study about a thing related to the campus.
Yeah, but I do think, again, you know, I mean, you don't really, I don't think before I got involved with this that I was even aware of all this spending or what was what.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that aren't. But we also know there's a lot of people that watch every single penny that's spent in the town. But I think, again, going back to what I said, I think if you can justify it, and it's not going to cost people money because the money is there, or there's a matching fund for it, so it's not going to cost as much. And it looks like we are actually going outside to see what funding is available before we come to the taxpayer, then I think that things get passed a lot easier.
Well, and I mean, politically, I think it passes a lot easier if it's not coming from the selectmen and it's coming from CPA or historic
Yeah.
for this particular article.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can, just like we did for the campus piece, I can always speak to the money, right? That's what
Right.
people want from me.
Yep.
But they want the feel-good stuff, you know.
Well, they want
Yeah.
the justification,
Yeah,
and I
so-
agree with that.
Right.
You know, I mean, the money side of it, yes, as long as it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. But as when they see it, if you've got people that are promoting it, what it's going to do for the town, and that's why we need to work together on all these different things.
Agreed.
Yeah, it would be amazing if it actually happens. That
Yeah.
would be, yes.
It's crossed.
Right, it's great when it does, right? So
Mhm.
it keeps happening. I mean, it's great. I just, like I said, I really want to prioritize the senior center too, so it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, let me go see.
All right, thank you.
Meeting
Meeting
Feel free
closed.
to come downstairs and I can show you
Okay,
the
too.
spaces.
Thanks, Kim.
Do I need a motion to close?
Technically, so moved.
Motion to close. Thank you, Dan.